Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Spill the D. My name is Gina. I'm one of your hosts, joined here by my handsome co-host, Rick. How are you?
Tan.
You are looking at, well, sort of. You got a good farmer's tan going
Kind
on. It's something.
I got a little something while we were away. I had to wear sleeves most of the time. So.
And he was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wear a tank top on the podcast so everyone can see my farmer's tan.
It's so warm right now.
But we are back. I feel like we haven't sat in this chair, this couch love seat thing and talked for a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
For us, not for everyone else. But for us, it's been about 3 weeks since the last time we recorded, so this is pretty exciting. I'm pretty happy to be here.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, did you miss it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I enjoy coming on and talking.
Me too. I don't really miss the editing when I don't have to edit.
That's fair.
But also, I wouldn't want to not edit.
Fair.
But we're here to talk about our trip. We went to Disneyland Paris while we were on our honeymoon in Europe. We made a little pit stop on the way to Rome. It's completely not out of the way, I swear. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. So we live in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. Mm-hmm. And for us to fly, we flew out of New York because it was cheaper into Paris.
Yes.
That was about 6 hours. I think it was like 5 and some change. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it was a 2-hour flight to Rome. And then we flew from Rome back to Jersey.
Yeah.
Which was about 9 hours. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it would have been the same whether we flew right to Rome or if we did Paris and then Rome. So, like, we might as well make the pit stop at Disney because we're good Disney adults and that's what good Disney adults do.
And we did do regular Paris for 2 days as well. For those that are wondering, it's not like we just stopped off at Disneyland Paris. We did do all of the other stuff, the Eiffel Tower and all that jazz, the Louvre.
The Louvre. But even if we didn't, it's our honeymoon. We could do whenever we wanted.
True story.
It's our trip. Our money paid for it. If we wanted to just go to Disneyland Paris,
we could have.
We could have. And remember that when you're planning your vacation and someone's like, really? You're doing that?
You can do what you want. It's your money.
It's your money. Do what you want with it. But we are very excited to tell you about our trip. We took notes because this was the beginning of our vacations. We wanted to make sure that we'd remember it. So whenever there was a lull where we maybe were standing in line and had a few minutes, we would jot down the past few things that we did. Yep. We also took pictures of everywhere we went so we would remember. So we had a whole science to this to make it that we could still completely enjoy our time there without having to worry about it while still getting the content for you guys. So before we go into that, we do have some news we want to go over. Not too much. A good amount of stuff did happen while we were away, but that's why we recommend that you follow our friends at 407 and Beyond Vacation Co. We are the official podcast of 407 and Beyond. They're a Disney and Universal travel agency that books and plans vacations to destinations such as Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando, so much more. It doesn't cost any extra to book with them. Their travel agents do everything for free for you so that all you have to do is show up and have fun. So this is why we recommend that you follow them and their agents, their page, whoever, all of them, one of them, whatever you want to do, because when we're not there, they do post all of the news and everything you need to know to make sure that you have the best vacation.
Yes, they do. You
can also find it on their website, which is where you can also go for a free no obligation quote, 407vacations.com.
Yes.
But here are the 2 pieces of news we want to touch on.
Pretty fun ones. You can go first. I know you're excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the better one. So,
I know.
For anyone who doesn't know, the Polynesian, one of the best resorts at Walt Disney World, and actually an opening resort at Walt Disney World. It has been there since 1971. They are building a giant tower next to it, so they are adding on to the hotel. They took out some of their standard rooms and are turning it into a Disney Vacation Club tower. We officially have the name of it. It is going to be called the Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. And the really cool thing is right now, Disney Vacation Club tends to offer bigger rooms places, multiple bedrooms, kitchenettes, full kitchens, depending on what size room you get. And this is not something that's currently offered at the Polynesian. The Polynesian only has studio rooms, which is a basic hotel room. You will get a kitchenette and bigger bathroom, like it's like a weird double bathroom situation. But besides that, it's just a basic room. With this, they are expanding and making it that the Disney Vacation Club has more options, as this will be a Disney Vacation Club resort portion. Did I word that right?
I think so.
The tower itself will be a Disney Vacation Club tower.
Yeah.
So they are adding Duo Studios, which is a 2-person studio. It has the pull-down bed, kind of like they all have at the Riviera. They have that like corner one that they don't offer many of. They're gonna be offering those. They are also gonna have spacious, their word, not mine, 1 and 2 bedroom villas, and brand new 2-bedroom penthouse villas.
Ooh, those sound expensive.
They're supposed to have an amazing view, so we'll see. I can't imagine it'd be a bad view. Because the Polynesian is right across from Magic Kingdom.
Do you think the penthouses are going to be more or less expensive than the bungalows?
Less expensive.
Okay.
I think that the privacy that the bungalows offer and them being right on Seven Seas Lagoon and having the music piped in and everything, which I'm sure the penthouses will offer, but I think that the privacy that's offered from there is not going to be able to be beat.
But penthouse.
And they're also both 2 bedrooms. They have many pieces of them that are comparable. They're both 2 bedrooms. They both have like the living and kitchen area. They both have a good view.
Yeah.
But the fact that the bungalow is its own entity, there are not other people around you, I think that's going to make the difference on which is more points.
Yeah, I guess. But I'm picturing penthouse as like an actual penthouse where like your card gets you on the elevator to your floor and you have like the whole top floor of the penthouse.
I don't know because I believe it's going to be, they made it plural, penthouse villas. So unless each elevator goes to its own, I have a feeling there's going to be a few up there. I think that you probably will need a card to get to that floor, but I don't think that the card is going to get you right to your room.
Okay.
That's my guess. I have no idea. They didn't show what these are going to be. So, I mean, Rick could be right. This is just, based off their wording, this is just what I'm thinking.
Gotcha.
So as far as booking this, starting June 4th, Disney Vacation Club members can book. Starting June 5th, annual pass holders can make a reservation. And then June 6th, everyone else, general public, can make a reservation. They plan currently on having it open by December of 2024, given that nothing goes wrong. It'll be open December 2024.
So I didn't see anything about this. I'm curious if you did. June 4th, DVC can make reservations. Is that including people that are on a current poly contract?
So I was confused about that they didn't give these people an advantage. From what I'm seeing, it's all DVC on one day.
Okay.
I could be wrong, and if I am, I will post on Instagram and let everyone know next week if I'm wrong, because I looked into that out of curiosity because we have Disney Vacation Club, but not at the Polynesian.
If you do have DVC and Poly is your home resort, and you did have a different day potentially that you could book this, let us know so we can post it on the story and let people know, because I didn't see anything.
That would be my brother's resort, so I can call and get it edited in right here. If I edit anything in, it's because he said that we're wrong. Okay, well, now we move on.
Okay.
Yes, so that is happening. Anyone who's familiar with Disney Vacation Club knows that normally when they build something new like this, they offer new contracts. They added this on to the current contracts.
Yes.
All right, next piece of news and last piece of news, and then we'll tell you guys all about Disneyland Paris.
Next piece of news for people that aren't interested in DVC, might be interested in meet and greets. If you like meet and greets, if your kids like meet and greets, there is a new one coming to Epcot. It's going to be in Communicore Hall in World Celebrations, and it's going to be open on June 10th. So they've been working on Communicore Hall for a while now, and it's finally opening. I guess when this episode comes out, it'll be like 10 or 11 days or something like that. But as of right now, all I've seen, spoiler-wise, is that Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy are the 3 characters that are going to be there. I don't know if they're going to add more or not, but I forget which Instagram page it was. One of the Disney Instagram pages posted a spoiler video earlier today. So yesterday, when you're listening to this, if you want to go watch that video, and it just shows what the meet and greet area is going to look like. But I know a lot of people enjoy their meet and greets with the characters, so there's a new one.
Yeah, they announced a while ago that this was going to be there. The big news is the fact that they showed what it's going to look like, and that we got an opening date, and that's always exciting in Epcot because construction has been going on forever. So it's coming to a close.
True.
So exciting. Now, speaking of construction, let's talk about Disneyland Paris.
The Epcot of Paris.
Literally. So, first thing that we learned in Paris, and this was Paris in general and Disneyland Paris.
There's no rules.
There are no rules, but also we were there, depending on when you're listening to this, you could be listening to this 3 years from now. We were there in May of 2024. the Olympics are coming to Paris, France in July of 2024, which means everything in Paris had construction, was weirdly clean, and just had stuff going on. And that is including Disneyland. I'm assuming Disneyland is always clean. I'm going to give that the benefit of the doubt. But there was a lot of construction going on top of normal construction that I'm sure they had planned.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact we went to Walt Disney Studios, which is the second park at Disneyland Paris. They have a Magic Kingdom, or just what they call Disneyland Paris, and then Walt Disney Studios. And Walt Disney Studios is getting a complete revamp in the whole front of the park. So it was just all construction you had to walk through. Then you walk into Disneyland Park, and again, there's just construction everywhere.
Yeah.
Rides were down, construction was going on, just things were happening everywhere. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you hear this episode and you get inspired and you want to go, I would not go in June, July, or August.
Yeah.
First of all, it's hot there, same as it is here. But also, the Olympics are gonna bring in so many people, and I know if I was going to the Olympics for something, if I was going to be a spectator, I'd be like, cool, let's go to Disneyland Paris while we're there.
I'm sure there's athletes that are even gonna go over there.
Oh, absolutely. So just keep that in mind when you're planning your trip. It's probably gonna be pretty chaotic there.
Yeah.
So as far as planning the trip, this trip we did plan it months and months out. It was tricky to plan. Things are kind of interesting when it comes to booking with Disneyland Paris. So it's booked right through their website. There are other websites where you can book, but I was nervous about booking on one of those websites because I don't speak French.
Fair.
And if anything went wrong, I needed to be able to, or in my brain needed to be able to call who I needed to, talk to who I needed to, and Disney seemed like the best help. You know what I mean? Rather than one of these, like, it's similar to how we have like undercover tourists here, how you can get things cheaper. Like, yeah, you can get it cheaper, but if it goes wrong, like, it's harder to get a hold of them. Or like Disney's not going to help you if something goes wrong with your ticket that you bought through undercover tourist, even though you can get a great deal. So like you have to really play around with it. So when booking through Disney, I kept seeing the price for the tickets, but I couldn't find the price for just the hotel. And I was trying to see how much it would cost to book them separately, because one thing that Disneyland Paris's website does is when you go on to look at the resorts, to look at the tickets, whatever, if you look at the resorts, it automatically gives you a ticket for every day that you're there. It doesn't show you just the price of the resort. And we originally had talked about making Disneyland our home base and going into Paris every day so that we didn't have to carry our bags from one hotel to another. Yeah. But because it gave the ticket every day, this didn't end up being financially the best decision. Mm-hmm. I called Disneyland Paris and asked them to explain to me what was going on, that I couldn't get just the hotel or just the tickets. And they basically explained that they do offer just the hotel, but you have to call to get it. And she broke down the prices for me, and it is actually cheaper to book their hotel packages than it is to buy a hotel and tickets separately. This is how it was explained to me from the woman on the phone who lived in Tampa, Florida, which killed me because I was paying to talk to someone in France. But it's fine.
Which I think we talked about a few weeks ago.
We did, because I'm still upset about it. So keep that in mind. Hopefully you don't need to call for anything. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the price of the Marvel Hotel, I wanted to stay at it. I thought it would be so cool. Yeah. And it was going to be like $1,600 a night, or $1,600 total for the hotel, or $1,400 for the hotel and tickets. Which I kind of just made those numbers up because this was weeks ago that I had this phone call, but you get the idea. It was like, wait a minute, well, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, why would I not do it with the tickets?
Yes, so we ended up staying at Hotel Santa Fe, and when we booked it, it was like a little over $900 for 2 nights at Hotel Santa Fe, and each of us got a 3-day park hopper ticket. So you get 1 park hopper ticket for every day that you're there for every person in your room.
Yes.
That's cheap, guys.
It's really good, yeah. I mean, you think about just how much a park hopper ticket at Walt Disney World is right now.
We did this in May. A 3-day park hopper ticket at Walt Disney World in April was $600. For one.
For one, yeah.
For just one. So for 2 3-day park hopper tickets and a hotel, we paid $900.
And Walt Disney World is significantly more than that, probably at least double.
Yes. But Disneyland Paris is significantly smaller.
Yes.
extremely smaller.
2 parks as opposed to 4 parks. The parks themselves are a little bit smaller.
A little bit. The parks themselves are significantly smaller.
They're more condensed. There's just as much to do. I feel like it's just very condensed as opposed to Disney World that I feel like has more like just look at this stuff.
Yes. I'm very excited to go to Disneyland in California in September to be able to compare that in size.
Yes.
Because everyone talks about how small that is. So I'm interested to see how small that is compared to Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, I agree.
So more to know when you're booking your trip. Disneyland Paris offers different shuttles. There are 2 different airports in Paris that they offer this shuttle to. It is not a free shuttle. So I believe I paid about $50 for the 2 of us one way. We came from the center of Paris. We were staying right by the Louvre, actually. So if anyone knows Paris, if that's helpful at all. So we had a few, the Louvre. So we had a few options when it came to getting to Disneyland Paris. If you fly in, you can just get right on Disneyland Paris' shuttle and they'll take you right there. There's a train. The train actually drops you right at the gate of Disneyland Paris. So if your plan is just to go to Disneyland for the day while you are in Paris, you can. It'll drop you right at the gate and you are literally right there. It was extremely close. It was where the bus for our resort dropped us. Was at the train station, which was pretty funny. And then the other option, you can Uber. We decided to Uber, or Free Now. It's their version of Uber. It was about $60.
Yeah, I think it was 60.
1, we were on our honeymoon and said screw it. 2, we were able to get an extra about 2 hours of sleep, or probably hour of sleep.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
I'd say an hour.
Because we went very early. We wanted to rope drop, but we also had to take all of our bags to the hotel. Well, the train drops you at the park.
Yes.
Our hotel was about a 15-minute walk. And we were like, well, we're going to pay extra for the convenience of not walking with our luggage. Yeah. If anyone has listened to us before, you know that is not normally us. But we really just we were wild.
Yeah, we were wild people these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, we were. We just said screw it.
It's easy.
So we did that. There also is a bus that Disney offers that goes in and out of Paris. I think it works out to every 45 minutes it'll come by, or 30 or an hour. I didn't look too much into it. We never saw it.
Never saw a single one of them.
No, from the photos it has big Disneyland Paris written on the side of it. We walked around Paris for 2 days straight. Everywhere.
Never saw a single
15
bus.
miles a day and never saw a single bus. So I don't know, but it's supposedly there. And it can take you, so you can look into that too as an option for getting to Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
All right, so now you're there. You checked into your hotel. Same thing as Walt Disney World and Disneyland. They did hold our bags for us because our room was not ready. They held our bags. They gave us our park tickets and our room key. Same thing. No magic bands there.
Yep.
And we took it and we went to the park for the day.
Yeah.
This is the start of day 1.
I think you forgot to mention that our hotel was Cars themed.
It was. We just went with what was the cheapest, and there was one more cheaper. It was Davy Crockett's Ranch, but that one didn't offer a bus.
And it wasn't Cars
themed. So then our 2 options that were only a little bit of difference in price was Cars or Toy Story.
Ooh, another thing about the hotel: no air conditioning. At least in Santa Fe.
So Hotel Santa Fe and what was the other one? Hotel Cheyenne. That was the Toy Story theme.
Yes.
Which we didn't stay at. Which my logic was that it was too American themed, as if Cars isn't Route 66, but it's fine. I don't know where my brain was at the time of booking because I'm totally more a Toy Story than a Cars person, but it's fine.
Also, we wanted to stay at the Marvel Hotel, which is New York themed. So
yeah, well, that was because Marvel, not because New York. But yes, so the cheaper hotels do not have air conditioning. I believe the Marvel one did in Newport Bay, which is very similar to Yacht and Beach Club. That one does. But no, Hotel Santa Fe and Hotel Cheyenne, and I believe Davy Crockett, none of them have air conditioning.
Notably, though, as many of you probably know by now, I complained about being warm a lot, and I did not feel warm at all the entire time we were there, though. Probably just the time of year. If you go in midsummer, it's probably pretty warm, but like Gina said, in May, not that bad.
It wasn't that bad. There was a window that opened, and we had the fan going. It was pretty good.
So I didn't think it was that hot. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. No. Day 1.
Day 1. We went right to the park.
Yes, we did.
We got food at the Starbucks in our hotel because we just needed something to eat quick because breakfast isn't a thing really there. They do pastries, and we had been
incredibly frustrating.
Rick's
trying
an,
to find breakfast.
Rick's an egg guy.
An egg and meat, breakfast meat guy. They don't have that
No,
in
Europeans like
Europe.
pastries. So we had gotten up, got there, checked in the hotel all without eating. So quickly we grabbed something there in case there was no food in the park. And we went right to Disneyland Park. We had an amazing time. We walked down Main Street. Their park is absolutely beautiful.
It is.
The word I kept using was whimsical. You'll probably
picturesque.
It is. It is just a gorgeous park from start to finish. From the moment you get there, beautiful. We did a nice casual stroll down Main Street. You, by staying in their hotel, get in the park an hour early. And we learned no one does do that.
Yeah.
You could really do most of this park in that first hour that you can get in. It was very empty.
Yeah.
So we went to Big Thunder Mountain to start. But something to note is that not everything is open. And it's not like at Walt Disney World where they'll open half the park and not the other half. It's very sporadic. So for instance, Frontierland had Big Thunder Mountain and Haunted Mansion in it. Well, Haunted Mansion wasn't open at the first hour, but Big Thunder was.
Yeah, it was weird
so
how
it's
they
like
open things.
Very sporadic. I'm sure that there is a full rhyme and reason to it, but this is what we found.
Yeah.
So we went and we rode Big Thunder Mountain. Tell me what you think.
I thought it was good. I thought it was better than the one in Walt Disney World, even though it took me until the third time we rode it to understand when we were going underwater.
So it's on its own island. So you board it in Frontierland, and then it goes under the water, and it comes back up in an island, and you ride around on the island, and then it goes back under the water, and you go to the exit.
Yeah.
I thought it was better. It's better than Walt Disney World. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's better.
But yes, so we rode Big Thunder Mountain. We explored their Adventureland, which is a full like Skull Rock pirate ship rope bridge area that you just run around.
I had a great time.
It was very cool. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Then we got in line for Pirates because by then the park was about to open. So we were some of the first people on Pirates of the Caribbean. What do you think?
It was good. Overall, I think it was a little bit better than the Walt Disney World one. It was definitely longer.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
We should have timed it.
It felt like it was longer. What did you think?
I thought the beginning and end of it was cooler than the Walt Disney World one, but the middle, ours is better.
That's fair.
But that's it.
I did want to make a note also about the Skull Rock thing that you were talking about, just so that people can picture it a little bit better. Imagine, was it Swiss Family?
Yes, this Robinson Treehouse. Yeah,
Robinson Treehouse mixed with
Peter Pan.
The island. What's the island called?
Neverland.
No, the one in
Adventureland.
In Walt Disney World.
Oh, it's Davy. No, not Davy Crockett. Tom Sawyer Island.
Tom Sawyer Island. Imagine those mixed together, but Peter Pan themed. Is basically what this was.
But there was Tom Sawyer-esque things too, because when you went into Frontierland, there was the play area that's on Tom Sawyer Island was the entrance to Frontierland. So you would walk through and like kids were just running around on top of you where you were walking. And
they had Davy Jones' locker and stuff like that. But it was mainly Peter Pan with the ship and Skull Rock and everything. Anyway, Pirates, had a great time. I love that ride, no matter where it's at, I think so.
The park was set up very similar to ours, except Frontierland and Adventureland was switched. So you go in and Frontierland's right immediately to the left, and then you go to Adventureland. So we started working our way around, basically, because we couldn't get onto Haunted Mansion when we wanted to, when we realized that it was closed. So we worked our way through. We rode Pirates. This is when we saw our first sale. Sales at Disneyland Paris, very common. A lot of things on sale for like 50% off at any given moment, which was really cool. And then the things in general, pretty similar. Like the merchandise was similar prices to Walt Disney World and Disneyland. I felt the food and things, they were similar or cheaper, never really more.
But as far as quick service goes, not nearly as good.
No. So we wandered Adventureland a little bit more. Again, it was very cool to just run around. Something that we did notice pretty early on at Disneyland Paris, and this is going to make moms with kids very excited. There was a lot of things that were just run around and experience it rather than rides. So Adventureland, for instance, was really only Pirates of the Caribbean, and the rest of it was run around and experience
Yeah.
at play areas. Frontierland had a giant playground area on top of the area I was just talking about. That was
Yeah.
when you go into the park. Then we made our way over to Fantasyland, and there was a full labyrinth themed to Alice in Wonderland. It was like everywhere had something where you just played. So like that is a complaint that I feel like people make at Walt Disney World when they have little kids. It's like there was nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, you can't just
When
like
they're, like,
go
little,
do
little.
something without waiting in line for it.
Or like they're just either in a stroller or being carried on a ride.
Yeah.
In a stroller on a ride. So like this is like there's a lot of areas of this park that they can run and get their energy out.
Yep.
Which is very nice. So yes, so then we made our way into Fantasyland. And guess what ride I got Rick on? Also, I'm really sorry if we sound like we're dead right now. We both lost our voices. This is the best that they've sounded. So this is why we chose to record.
Yeah.
We were gonna wait a day, but like these are pretty good compared to what they have been.
Yeah. Didn't want to chance it.
No.
I wouldn't say that you got me on it. I pretty willingly went on it. I'm assuming you're talking about It's a Small World.
I am talking about It's a Small World.
Look, it's one of those things where like you don't necessarily want to do it, but it is different, and you know that. So you just do it. You know, and it actually wasn't that bad. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I do the one in Walt Disney World. And I don't know if it's just because it's more updated, I guess. Or for some reason the song just didn't annoy me quite as much while we were there.
So my thought with almost every ride at Disneyland Paris when I was like, is this better than the one that we're used to? Was that it's about 20 plus years newer. It's so like it's not the craziest thing if it is better. It's more than 20 years newer.
Yeah.
At minimum. So like, depending on the ride, obviously. So like, it's not the craziest thing if you got off and you're like, okay, yeah, this was better.
Yeah.
Especially something like that. Like they had more time to work out the kinks.
Yeah. Most of them were better, I think. Anyway, the ones that were comparable to Walt Disney World. What did you think about It's a Small World?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah?
I thought it was good. And I mean,
it was better than Disney World?
It was very comparable. They had a little bit more of like fantasy creatures in theirs, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
Like I don't remember. It's been a while since we rode at Walt Disney World, probably a few years.
Yeah.
But I don't remember there being like a mermaid in ours.
Yeah, I don't either.
Maybe I'm crazy.
For some reason, I feel like it was just like old creepy dolls. Whereas this one was like not as creepy, and like you said, there was the mermaid in there. There was what was the other one? There's another like
there's a leprechaun, I think. Like it was just different things that it was like,
It was just better.
Maybe you just need to ride the one at Walt Disney World again, I guess.
I don't think that's it. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm gonna go with the fact that that's it. And then we worked our way into Discoveryland, which is their version of Tomorrowland.
Very confusing.
Now here's the thing I know this probably feels like we are running from ride to ride. We're not. The only rides that we skipped that were open in all of this so far have been Dumbo and the teacups.
Yes.
There's not a crazy amount here. This park is not super congested with rides. Which is a good and bad thing.
Yeah, we also didn't wait that long for any of the rides, though.
We didn't. We were there on a Monday. And we, at this point, walked onto every ride that we had ridden.
Yeah.
Then we got in line for Star Tours. At this point, we had already gotten a snack. We got these, like, beef ball things that we, unfortunately, didn't write the name down on.
It was, like, gravy and beef in a fried ball. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good. It wasn't what they normally would serve in France from what we learned, but that's okay. So we had those, and then, again, we made our way into Discoveryland, and we rode Star Tours.
What did you think of Star Tours?
It was exactly the same.
I loved the whole, like, half French, half English.
No, so we had a really weird thing happen to us with Star Tours that I have never had happen. And we honestly should have wrote it a third time, but it was not on a priority list.
Yeah.
But we got the exact same combination.
We did, yeah.
2 times in a row.
Weird.
And the first time we did it, it was in French. And then the second time was the exact same video combination in English.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the same video every single time or if we just happen to get the exact same one.
We probably should have written it a third time.
We should have. It just was not.
Didn't think about it in the moment, though.
No, we were just like, wow, that was so crazy. But then, like, looking back, we were like, hold on. is this normal? So we only rode it one time that day.
Yeah.
Like that was the one day we rode it one time, and it was exactly the same as ours. Same ride mechanism, same literally everything, same queue, like creepily similar to ours. And at this point, we rode one ride in each section of the park, in each land, which I didn't realize until we're talking about it right now.
We were moving.
And it was still really early.
It was. I don't even know if it was like 2:00 at this point yet.
I don't know it. I don't even know if it was noon. Like it was so early.
Yeah,
we were in the park by 8:30. The park didn't open until 9:30. So that extra hour gave us so much time. 9:30 exactly was when we got on Pirates of the Caribbean because we were like the first people there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know, man. It was really crazy. But at this point, we had wanted to see a show. So right now, Disneyland Paris has a really cool show going on. It's called A Million Splashes of Color, and we had seen really great things about it online. So we were like, this is it. We're going to see it. We hadn't seen any videos of it online, just people talking about how great it was. So we made our way to the hub to go see it. On our way there, we stopped and took some castle photos because the park was still relatively empty.
And we had to take castle pictures, of course.
And Rick was hungry.
Always.
And there wasn't much on Main Street in the way of...
this is the most disappointing part of the whole trip.
In the way of quick service food. So what'd you get?
I got Casey's. Which I didn't have the highest expectations for.
You got a hot dog in France, people.
Listen. It's Disneyland in France. It's not just France. I wouldn't have gotten it at a random cafe in Paris. I was like, this is Casey's Corner. It's got to be at least close to what we have in Walt Disney World. And let me tell you, it was not even a little bit close. So I got a pretty basic hot dog, it was a chili cheese dog. And I at least expected it to come out in like a hot dog boat, like those paper boats that they have. And it got handed to me in tinfoil.
It's like a bag.
It's like one of those like bags that you get at a baseball stadium. And I opened it up and it was a mess. It tasted okay, but the presentation was like a 2 out of 10 on this one.
The taste was like a 4 out of 10, and I'm a big hot dog girl.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It filled me because it was pretty big, so it held me over, but it was not the best snack that I could have gotten at the time.
It was the biggest ripoff we got in Disneyland, I think.
I would definitely.
It was like $15, which is about what the footlong hot dogs in Disney World cost. But Disney World, they come with a big thing of fries. And this was just a hot dog. And our first red flag, besides the fact that we paid for a hot dog in France, was they handed us the thing, we opened it, we looked at this hot dog, and all you could see was the bun. It completely engulfed the hot dog.
Yeah. Like, Casey's Corner in Walt Disney World is like...
The hot dog's hanging off the edge.
You can't see the bun. The bun doesn't exist.
No.
Whatever topping you got on it is covering the bun, and the hot dog is hanging over the edges. And this was, like Gina said, the hot dog was in the bun, and it was a mess.
And the bread in France was so good, and this bread was not good.
Yeah,
it was like...
It was incredibly disappointing.
Don't go to Casey's Corner at Disneyland Paris. Don't do it. Walk off Main Street, find something else. There is like a small spot that we had like pastries and stuff, but he wanted like food. He didn't get it.
I got it. I ate it. I complained a little bit, but I still ate it.
Didn't get rid of it, but
didn't throw it away.
Complained to me, not to Disney.
Yeah, no, I didn't complain to Disney.
All right, so then we went to see what was my favorite show at Disneyland. What about you?
I think it's the best show I've ever seen at Disney.
All Disney's? Mm-hmm. Whoa! It beat Happily Ever After. It beat Fantasmic.
They're different shows. I'm not considering Happily Ever After the same thing. That's a show.
But you're making the statement.
No, I'm saying like performance show.
All right, so beat Fantasmic.
Yeah.
Wow. Beat Festival of the Lion King.
Yep.
Wow.
I thought it was so good. I had such a great time watching it, and I mean, we watched it every day we were there, if that doesn't tell you how good we thought it was.
It was really good. So what it is it's a parade that comes down Main Street, and then the hub is like a perfect circle, and you sit in the hub area, which is the grass in front of the castle, and they have stages set up there. And so some people are within the stages, some people are on the sidewalk around it, and then some people are on the other side of the streets looking in, like at the parade route. It actually goes around the circle. They get off the floats and come into the stages in the middle, and they perform in the middle and around you.
And there's like 4 stages in the middle, and each stage had for the most part, 2 dancers and a character.
There was like
dancing on
three people at all times, whether it was like 2 characters, 1 dancer.
Yeah.
Yes. At least 3. And the floats just keep moving around. Like people can't walk on that street while it's happening. It is so much going on in the best way. It is not overwhelming and it is completely just joy.
And some of the best music for a show as well.
Yes, it is so fun. The characters are fun. It's the weirdest mishmash of characters.
It is.
And it's so good, and I highly recommend it. It was very good,
Yes.
very entertaining.
And this isn't the normal parade. Just to be clear, there is a whole nother parade that happens, like the regular parade. This is just a different show parade kind of thing.
All right, and then we rode Haunted Mansion, a walk on. Still, we're still just walking on to things. The show was at like 11 or 12 o'clock, and we're still just walking on to things.
And you like Walt Disney World Haunted Mansion better, right?
Yes, I thought this one was kind of scarier, which was cool.
Uh-huh.
I think for French, definitely like it a little scarier because you'll hear the story of Tower Terror in a minute.
Yeah.
But I thought Walt Disney's was better. I couldn't fully follow the story of what was happening with this one, and I like that about Walt Disney World's.
Yeah, the one scene was a little misplaced in this one, I felt. But overall, I thought it was better. I think.
Interesting.
I like the story that you could follow of it being like a wedding. I liked better.
But I couldn't follow what happened with the wedding. I understood that it was like a ghost bride, and that there was a groom, but I couldn't fully understand what was happening. Did he not show up? Did he show up? Did he murder her? Did he what's going on?
That's
what?
fair. I don't know.
Like it was kind of confusing. So I don't know. And they had some stuff in English, so like it's not just because it was in French.
Yeah.
From there, we went over to Walt Disney Studios for the afternoon. I'm kind of gonna go through what we did pretty quick because we've already been talking a while, and I don't feel like you guys need to hear every little. Then we did this. Then we did that. So we did the Cars bus tour, which if you liked Backlot Tour at Walt Disney World, it's basically that. Minus all of the fun parts.
I wasn't a fan.
If you have a little kid who likes cars, it was a really cool thing to see. The part of the Backlot Tour where like the truck falls on you and all the water comes out, they managed to turn that into like a Cars thing. So that part's pretty cool. But besides that,
most of it.
Yeah, you're very much just like in and out. There's no Golden Girls house or anything. It was very quick. Not super great, but again, if you have kids who like cars, probably really, really fun for them. We also, other rides that we did while we were there, we did Avengers Campus for the first time. We rode Web Slingers, which is Rick's new favorite ride in any Disney park, I think.
It was really fun.
Which they have that at Disneyland too, so I'm excited for you to do that and see which one you like better.
Is it different, like the ride and everything?
No, I think it's the same. Ride mechanism, everything.
I should have gotten the thing then.
You should. I told you to get it. So we did Avengers Campus. We did that. We rode the Avengers Coaster, which is weirdly enough Iron Man and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Seems like a weird mix,
Rock and roller coaster with Marvel characters is what it was.
Yes, it actually was. That was the perfect description of it. I'm pretty sure it was the same course and same track and everything. I was trying to figure it out. I was like, next time I ride Rock and Roller Coaster, which is reopening on July 27th, I'm going to be like all over it, trying to figure out if it was the same. We had shawarma at the diner that they have there. We got to see a show there, The Mickey and the Magician.
It was okay.
It probably would have been really good if you spoke French.
I don't know. I just, it was okay. I don't know.
Everything there, show-wise, was half English, half French.
Yeah, it was a little tough.
They did a really good job of, like, if we were having a conversation and I said something in French, then he would respond with, "That's so fun that you just said this. I think that." So it made it that, like, as an adult, you could figure out what they were talking about, even if you didn't speak the language.
Yeah, it was a pretty good show.
And we have 2 more things we did while we were there. One of which was we had our one and only cast member made magic moment. So we were riding Tower of Terror, and I was wearing my ears that were a veil. Like, they had a veil on them. Mm-hmm. And she looked at me and she's like, "Oh, congratulations." I was like, "Oh, thank you. That's so sweet." And she goes, "Oh, did you get Premier Access for today?" Which is their version of Fast Pass or their version of Lightning Lane, and it's extremely expensive. It would have been over $200 for the 2 of us for one day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Oh, no, we didn't get it. Like, it's fine." She actually came back out with 2 tickets, one to ride Tower of Terror again, and one to go ride Crush's Coaster with the Premier Access lane, which was so sweet.
Yes, and awesome, because the Crush's Coaster was the only ride that had a wait the whole time.
Yes. So amazing. And it really made me notice, though, one thing that was very apparent at Disneyland Paris compared to the America parks. Disneyland Paris is very much set up to be the most enjoyable for the guest. Like it was, the park itself was magical.
Yeah.
Everything was smooth. Everything was easy. It was very good in that aspect.
Yeah.
It wasn't efficient.
No.
Nothing moved quickly, but they don't move as fast there. But also, like, they are much more laid back. But also, like, at some point, you're like, well, don't you want the line to move?
Yeah.
So it wasn't as efficient, but like everything was just set up to be good and magical, if that makes sense.
With less effort.
With less effort. The cast members didn't as much. They were perfect cast members. They were fine. They were great, but there was no extra mile like what you get at the Disney parks. And I'm not just saying because of us. It was apparent when you watched all around, like people with birthday buttons not getting told happy birthday.
Yeah.
Like there was no, usually like if you just pay attention at Walt Disney World, you'll see magic moments everywhere.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't, which is fine. There doesn't need to be, especially if that's not something that's normal there. But it was just like a very interesting change to see because that's part of the fun of working at Walt Disney World.
And that's what we're used to seeing.
Yeah. So it was really interesting. Like even her saying congratulations when I had on the veil ears. She was the only cast member the entire trip.
We were very shocked when she said it because no one else had said anything.
We had Mr. and Mrs. sweatshirts on the next day in the rain, and no one, which we had ponchos over it, but like we took the ponchos off eventually, and like you could clearly see them, and like no one did. And again, no one needs to.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting because like at Walt Disney World, they would have been all over that. So that was something really interesting to note. Like they don't expect anything if you're bringing your kid for their birthday. And they have a button that says it's their birthday. They might not even get told happy birthday by cast members.
It was tough to get a button too.
Yeah, they didn't have buttons like we do. They had birthday ones, but only at certain resorts. No first visit buttons and or that we could find. We asked around a lot and no kind of like happily ever after buttons. Should have brought our own. I knew it. But yes, so that was amazing. Tower of Terror, better there or here?
There.
It's scary there.
That's why I liked it.
The French are so much cooler about scary because that ride was scary.
I liked that one better because there's a little bit more of stuff when you get into the ride sequence.
Yes.
Like the one in Disney World is just like you go through the pre-show and then you get on the ride and it just kind of happens. But this one is like there's a little bit more stuff that happens. Would you like to describe what happens that makes it scary for you?
Okay. I'm not going to give the full thing away. But basically, the entire ride queue is the same as Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Like, everything's the same. You get on, the pre-show is the same. It's just in French.
Yeah.
So my brain is, okay, this is going to be the same. And if anyone is new here, hi, I'm Gina. I'm petrified of ghosts. Absolutely petrified. I close my eyes during the ghost part on Tower of Terror normally, but it is one of, if not my favorite ride. So I'm like, I got to keep my eyes open. I got to watch this because, like, it's a different ride. So it starts, and it's not the same ghost after everything.
Nope.
They show the same ghost in the pre-show, but then you get on the ride, and it's just the little girl. Little girl ghosts are absolutely petrifying. Mm-hmm. They're terrifying. I don't know.
Much scarier than an adult ghost.
Yes. So the ride starts, and it's doing its Tower of Terror thing. And the little girl pops up, and she starts speaking French. And I turn to Rick, and I'm like, wow, this like actually might be scarier because it's in French and we don't know what she's saying. And then this creepy little girl switches to English, looks every person dead in the eye. I don't know how, probably because she's a creepy ghost girl. And she says, if you scream, it will only make it worse. And then it drops you or it shoots you off, whatever it did. So and it was like,
it's so good.
It was absolutely petrifying. I was like, it's scarier in English. It's scarier in English. Petrifying. And then it stops again. And what does she say again? She's like, I told you not to scream or something like that. Or like they'll if stop screaming, they'll hear you or something like along those lines. And it is so scary. And that's just one ride sequence.
Yeah.
Then we ended up in another elevator later and had a different ride sequence, which I won't spoil too much. That one was also scary. Mm-hmm. The if screaming will only make it worse one was definitely scarier.
Yes. It was
terrifying.
So good though. I had a great time.
It was so good. It was so scary though. So scary. They're definitely more okay with scary in France. Good for them.
Yeah.
The last thing we did there, this is kind of in no order. We went to Bistro Chez Remy. Mm-hmm. This is the restaurant that is themed to the restaurant at the end of Ratatouille.
It was so good.
It is like you are a rat eating in the restaurant that you see at the end of the movie.
At the end of the ride, too, that's one of my favorite parts about it, is when you get off of Remy, the ride in Paris, you are looking at the restaurant. Like, there's glass windows, and you look into the restaurant. And then when you go outside, you turn, and you're right at the entrance to the restaurant. The food was delicious. The theming was delicious. And I would definitely go back.
Highly recommend it. Highly recommend.
The Ratatouille.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite things I ate the entire
Top
trip.
notch.
It was this tiny little ramekin with Ratatouille. I was like, can I have a whole bowl of this?
Can I just have more of this?
It was so good.
Yeah. The steak that we got was really good.
Yes.
The fries were really good.
All amazing. It was like $40-something a person. Part of it you're paying for the theming, obviously, because the price was per person. But then you picked an entree and an appetizer, or you can pay more and get entree, appetizer, dessert.
Yeah.
But overall, phenomenal.
Oh, and we had that really good cider.
Yeah, they had a drink special. It's $5.
Yeah.
For a bottle of cider, like a spiked cider.
Yeah, it was really good.
Amazing. Highly recommend.
So that was day one.
That was day one. We went back to, we ended the day by going back over to Disneyland Park. We wanted to see the drone show and the fireworks show. We rode Buzz Lightyear. We did become Hero Galactique, obviously. What did you say?
I said, ask how the drone show went.
Yeah, no, that didn't go well. So after riding Buzz Lightyear, we got spots for the drone show, which is the Electrical Sky Parade, which if anyone remembers the Electrical Parade at Walt Disney World and then Disneyland, it's a nighttime parade. They made that in the sky with drones. Mm-hmm. We're waiting for it to start. It was about 3 to 4 minutes after when it was scheduled to start when they finally made the announcement that there was a technical difficulty and it wasn't going to happen. So they just showed the projections on the castle of what would have been. It was okay.
Not good.
It was fine. It was whatever. It kept us entertained till the fireworks started.
Yeah.
But then the fireworks started.
I don't know if there's like certain restriction for the height of fireworks or size of fireworks that they're allowed to have.
When I looked into it, it said that neighbors complained, but I don't know how accurate it is. They were not real fireworks.
No, they were like the sparkler fireworks
that just shoot up like in front of the castle. Like there wasn't like legit fireworks.
There was like a handful of little legit fireworks,
but not
like the big
not fireworks. No, so it was like mainly just projections on the castle. So we saw it once. We were glad we did, but spoiler alert: the next night we did not see it.
Mm-hmm. We planned to see the drone show again the next night, and again that got canceled. So we left and we went and rode rides while those things were happening.
It's true. But yeah, so we went back to the hotel, got a good night's sleep, and woke up the next morning to rope drop again.
Oh, yeah.
Because why not? We got the cheapest hotel so that we could do that.
Yeah.
This time we started in the other park. And from here, I'm kind of going to speed through things a little bit, kind of like I did at the end of the last one.
Yeah.
Partially because we've already been talking for 50 minutes, but also because a lot of our days now we're doing things again in between
doing rides again, doing activities again
in between getting to the things that we didn't get to do the first day. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of like a method to our madness. So this day it rained all day. It was supposed to only rain until 3:00. It rained until we were back at our hotel at midnight. Like it rained all day.
It did not stop.
It was crazy. We had these adorable outfits that we never even had to show off because we were wearing sweatshirts and ponchos the entire time. Because it was cold and rainy, but that made the park completely empty on top of the fact that it was a Tuesday.
True.
We walked onto everything that we wanted to do.
Literally.
So we walked on the web slingers. Then we rode Tower of Terror again. This is when we got the different ride sequence. Then we went over, that was all that we did there, honestly. And then we went over and we went to Disneyland Park.
Yeah.
This is where we found 2 more rides in Fantasyland that we somehow missed the day before.
I forgot about that.
There was a Pinocchio ride that you basically went through the story of Pinocchio.
It was Winnie the Pooh, but with Pinocchio.
Yes. Equally as scary. And there was Snow White's Scary Adventures.
Also kind of Winnie the Pooh, but with Snow White.
Snow White's Scary Adventures was not as scary as I was expecting, but it was a little creepy. So that was very cool. We were starving at this point. Mm-hmm. We went to a restaurant that was themed to Coco.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that restaurant.
Yes, we got burritos in
They
France.
were really good.
Better than the hot dogs in France.
The burritos were actually really
It
good.
was more because we wanted the cocoa theme rather than the food itself.
I had no complaints about those burritos,
No,
though.
the theming was really cool. You felt like you were like in the house. So that was very cool.
They had a lot of cool desserts and like food themed stuff there too that we just didn't get, but I thought it was a cool restaurant.
And funny enough, it was in Frontierland.
Yeah, it was really the placement of things didn't always make the most sense.
It was very interesting. So from there, we tried to go to the Lion King show, but everyone else had the same idea of getting out of the rain by going to the Lion King show. So we were there about 30 minutes early, and the line got cut off probably at least 200 people ahead of us.
Yeah.
Like, we were so far back. I couldn't even tell you what the amphitheater looked like at the time.
Yeah.
Could
I
not
only
see the
could
stage.
because I walked up to see what was going on, and they cut everybody off when I was up there, like, checking, and they were like, you guys can wait here for an hour for the next show if you want, and people were waiting an hour
in the
for
rain.
the next show.
And we're like, well, if we're in the rain, you might as well go play.
Exactly.
So we did. We went to the Alice in Wonderland maze.
Did that in the rain. That was actually pretty fun in the rain.
That was pretty fun in the rain because it was empty.
Yeah.
There was no one in our way. Like, we just kind of ran around it and like tried to find our way through. It's not like a kind of maze where you get stuck. There is a correct way that they are funneling you through, but you can
too. Like,
but yeah, but you can turn the wrong way.
If you find a dead end, you're only going to walk like 10 to 20 feet, and then you'll hit another dead end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that difficult, but it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
The hedges are high enough that you can't see over them, so. And then it leads you to the Queen of Hearts. That's her name, right? Queen of Hearts.
Yes.
Her like castle thing, and you get to go up to the top of her castle, and you can look over the whole maze, and it's really cool.
And the whole park, you can see all of the park from there.
So yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that actually a lot, even not being an Alice in Wonderland fan.
I agree. Knew nothing about what was going on, but I knew I've seen the movie, but didn't have the nostalgia with what we were doing. But I loved it. I thought it was really fun, something different to do. We also did an Aladdin walkthrough.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
That was weird. It was kind of weird.
It was kind of fun.
It was like a little museum of Aladdin that told the story of Aladdin.
It was like a 3D storybook of Aladdin,
basically.
basically.
It was interesting. We were like, we didn't know what was at the end of it, so we walked through like being like, "Ooh, what are we gonna find?" We found the exit.
Yeah,
that was
it was
kind of
just
fun.
like one of those like hidden things that they just like.
It was like you like saw a door and you're like, "Where's this door go?" And it was a whole little Aladdin museum. It was pretty cool. It was weird, but it was cool. We also at that point went to the castle. Do you want to explain what's under the castle at Disneyland?
There's a dragon. I think it's Maleficent, right?
It doesn't actually say. It just says the dragon dungeon.
Yeah. So you can walk under, through, around the castle at Disneyland Paris.
Up. You walk up into
you
it
walk
and around,
up and around
on a balcony
the
up top.
And they have an area called the Dragon's Lair, right? That's what they called it.
I think Dragon Dungeon.
Dragon Dungeon, maybe. Anyway, you go
Cellar? Dragon Cellar?
No, I don't think it was cellar. So you go under the castle into the dragon area, and there's like a big animatronic dragon that's sleeping in there, and it like wakes up a little bit every once in a while, and it looks around. It was pretty cool.
It's not animatronic. That's real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a real dragon. You're lucky it didn't fully wake up while we were in there.
Yeah, that would have been bad, I guess.
Could have been real bad. It went a waste of money for that third day. I thought it was really cool. So, and there's like 3 ways in, all from right around the castle, and the one goes back up into the castle, into the gift shop, in typical Disney fashion.
Yeah.
We also, from there, we went and we saw PhilharMagic. That's only open certain hours. It's from like 12 to 6, I think.
Walt Disney World is better anyway.
Yes. So their theater was not made for PhilharMagic the way that Walt Disney World's was. They just put the show in a theater. So where they won out was that theirs was newer, I think. So the video was very clear.
Yeah.
But it didn't
4K
have the
Ultra
same
HD.
kind of like 4D effects.
And they didn't have Donald's butt at the end.
They didn't. There was no butt.
Made sure to look for it, and I think people thought I was stupid for.
We like broke our necks turning around, and there was nothing there. But this is when we learned that there is a deal at Disneyland. They offer a lot of deals on their food, especially when it comes to food and drink. So it'll be like a coffee and a Danish for €7, which is like pretty cheap when the Danish on its own was 6.
Yeah.
So it was €8 for popcorn and a drink when popcorn alone was 6.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. However it worked out, the soda only cost $1.50.
Yeah, it was something like that. Popcorn refills, not a thing. in Disneyland Paris.
You can get a popcorn bucket, but the price of the refill is the same as
the
just buying a popcorn.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a popcorn bucket, it's because you want the bucket, not because you're trying to save money.
Yeah.
So we did that. We again watched the Million Splashes of Color show.
Yep.
We went to we did the Swiss Family Treehouse, exactly the same as ours. We went to Captain Jack's for lunch. Highly recommend.
So good.
This is a Caribbean themed restaurant that Pirates of the Caribbean actually goes through, very similar to the Bayou at Disneyland in California.
Yes. And the ride in the pyramid, the Three Caballeros.
Yes, how it'll just kind of like ride past where people are eating.
The restaurant, yeah.
And the food was amazing.
It was so good.
And it was about the same price as it was at Chez Remy, except we got a dessert with this one.
Yeah.
And it was really weird. It was like $38 for an entree or $44 for an appetizer, entree, and dessert.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, I guess we're getting all of it.
Yeah. Fair warning for this one, it is kind of dark in there, so if you're someone who has trouble seeing, might not be the best choice, or just let them know ahead of time. That way they can make sure they guide you through it, because it was very dark in there since it goes through the ride.
Yes. So that they don't kill the ambiance.
Food was delicious, though. A lot of seafood options. Drinks were good.
Lots of rum.
Lots of rum.
If you like your rum, it's the place to be.
So, highly recommend that one as well if you're out that way.
We saw their world famous parade, the Disney Stars on Parade.
I thought it was really good.
Very similar to the Festival of Fantasy.
Yes, very similar.
A little bit more animated. There's a little bit more going on as far as the floats went.
Yeah.
The floats matched the theming of the park with that like whimsical feel.
Yeah.
But the concept was pretty much the same. Of it was each land in the park had like an area and there was characters, which fair. If it ain't broke.
And the parade route was a lot more straightforward. It was just up and around the.
No, so the parade route, it came from back in by Discoveryland.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, and it came out and around and then down Main Street. So it's actually a shorter parade route.
Okay.
It was a shorter parade route, but if you buy the Premier Access, you can get reserved seating. So something cool if you're willing to spend that money. Because again, it starts at like $90 a person per day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
It's not worth it, especially because we didn't wait for anything.
Especially on a rainy day when we literally just walked up to everything we wanted to. And then from there, we kind of explored Adventureland a little bit more, ran around in there. We rode the Indiana Jones ride, which I was under the impression was like one of those mousetrap roller coasters. It was a full doing flips roller coaster right in Magic Kingdom, right in Disneyland Park. Didn't know that was a thing.
Still got plenty of whiplash, though.
It was so good, though. I had so much fun. Rick goes, this is the only time I'm riding this.
My head kept hitting on the things.
I am an adult that has control of my neck, so I was fine.
I also have control of my neck, but it just wasn't working.
It was a really fun ride, though. The theming of it was really cool. Snakes everywhere. Rick's favorite thing. Yeah, right. This trip, I conquered my fear of ghosts, and he conquered his fear of snakes. Sort of. We did the teacups and Dumbo. Mm-hmm. Dumbo in the rain. Teacups was covered.
Which was our first time doing Dumbo together, I believe, right?
Yeah, somehow we never realized that. We got ice cream that I thought was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Wasn't the best. We rode Peter Pan. What'd you think? Better or worse than ours?
Worse.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We didn't wait for it. We walked right onto it.
Yeah, I don't think that would have changed much, to be honest.
No.
I mean, our queue was really good, but the ride itself, I thought ours was just a little bit better.
I agree. Ours is better. Mm-hmm. And our queue's better. I think we might have like 10 minutes now that I'm thinking about it, but still, ours is better.
Yeah.
I got a salami cone.
Salami was big.
We haven't shared a lot of the food that we got because it was all just very plain, boring food, but salami is really big in France. So if you like salami, highly recommend going because I got salami everywhere and they literally were just selling cones of salami.
Yeah, like it was just cut up like on a charcuterie board, how you just cut up little circles. It was just that, but in a cone.
So good. I was so happy. And then we were on our way over to wait for the drone show. Again, the Electrical Sky Parade. When we saw Buzz Lightyear heading in line. Mm-hmm. So we rode that again. And when we're saying Buzz Lightyear, this is just like Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, except you hold the gun like you would do at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Where it's not attached to the vehicle. You just get to hold it. And we did not get Hero Galactique this time.
Because we were trying to figure out other spots.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out where to aim. The best spot that we figured out to aim is in the last room. It's not a target. This is where they trick you.
Yeah.
So Rick got it first, and he's telling me, he's like, aim for Zurg's chest. That's where I was aiming, and I got it. So I'm aiming for Zurg's chest, and I'm getting like 10,000 points. And then I was like, wait a minute. And I turn my gun, and I shoot it at the medallion that is holding on Zurg's cape.
Yeah.
It's like half the size of the targets, and it just looks like a piece of the decoration.
Yeah.
Immediately start getting 100,000 points.
Apparently, that was the point, and my gun was off.
We'll blame the gun. So immediately start getting 100,000 points every time I'm hitting it and get Hero Galactique. So that's where you need to aim. We tried this on the other Zurg on this day to see if it was every single one of those pieces. It's not. The one in the last room is though. Mm-hmm. And then we waited for the Electrical Sky Parade. Only for it not to happen again. But this time they warned us about 10 minutes before.
A little bit earlier.
We were still waiting there for it, but we got the warning 10 minutes before this time. So we said, all right, we're out of here. Mm-hmm. And we went and rode Big Thunder Mountain in the dark.
Which was awesome.
It was awesome. Something really important to note, and kind of what shuffled us into different areas of the park towards the end of the night, they close things early here.
They do.
So when we went to ride Big Thunder Mountain, we did it knowing that when we're walking over there, it could be closed. Like, they do not leave everything open till the end. Fantasyland closes about an hour before the park closes.
They close, like, back to front of the park.
To, like get people out.
Starting, like, an hour before, they, like, close, like, back to front, like, little by little as, like, right before the show goes on and stuff like that. So, yeah, like Gina said, Fantasyland was completely closed, like, an hour before, and you can't get on any rides or anything back there.
And this happened both days. And this could change based off the crowds, based off the time of year. I'm not sure, but in our experience, they did start closing things early. So don't save anything for the end if you really want to do it.
Yes.
Because it could close. Big Thunder Mountain, we were able to get on with only like 2 minutes left before the park closed. So there is like kind of pros and cons of it, I guess. I don't know what word to use there, but they do leave some things open. The fireworks start at park close. That way they have everyone in the front. They do that. So partially on purpose, they have people in the front. Also because it's not dark in Paris. Until, at least in right May. Before the fireworks. Until like 10 o'clock. It was 9:30 and it was still perfectly sunny out. So that was weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
All right. They went back to the hotel. Mm-hmm. Walked back. 15-minute walk. Hotel. Actually, we went to the World of Disney because they have like their version of downtown Disney or Disney Springs right there. It's all connected, two parks in that area. So we went to World of Disney and got whatever souvenirs we wanted, because then the plan was to pack up, because the next morning we woke up, we left our bags at the resort. We like checked them and gave them to the bellhops, and then we went to the park for our last day. Yeah. Because our flight was until 9 p.m. So we were able to go to the park until about 5 o'clock. 5:45 was when the shuttle was coming that Disney provides, that we paid for, but Disney provides it, that was going to be taking us to the airport.
Got a full day in, though.
Just about, yeah. We were able to ride Remy's Ride Through Adventure, which we didn't get to do the day before, because it was, or either day before, because it was very crowded. Yeah. We were able to ride Web Slingers. We got the high score of the day. Yeah. At that point, it was still early, but it wasn't really a high score. Or high score of the week or so. Yeah, we scored over 1 million, and the people we were with were locals, and they were telling us like, this is a good score. Like they were taking pictures of the score. They were so excited. So we did very well. Yeah. Because you like get scored individually, but then it gets added up as a team. Yeah. We also rode the Avengers coaster again, and Tower of Terror again.
Basically, did all of our favorite things again.
We did. This was the favorite things moment. We only had, I think, one thing left in the park to do that we hadn't got to do yet, which was the Lion King show. Which we prioritized. That was like after we did all of our rides, we were like, okay, we're going. Even if we have to wait, we're gonna wait in line for the Lion King show. Like as soon as we finished over at Walt Disney Studios, we left there, took some photos in there, and then left. And then we went right to the Lion King show, and we were like, this is it. We are getting to this show. And we did, and it was a very good show. It was a very good show. It was really good. It was very similar to Festival of the Lion King. Maybe, no, not better. Better? No. Yeah, they're so different. It was similar but different. They're so different. The Festival of the Lion King is so interactive as a show. Yeah, it wasn't. This was on a stage. And this was like a stage show, but... It still had the acrobats. It had shows from the Lion King on Broadway. Yeah. The costumes were more of a production because it was
closer
on stage.
to like a Broadway production
Yeah.
than the other one is.
And it was just song after song after song, but
Yeah.
telling the story of the Lion King.
Yeah, it was good.
It was
I enjoyed
so
it.
funny because they started, and the girl who played Nala, I was like, this is really weird. Like, her dancing is not as great as everyone else's. And she started singing, and I was like, this is why she's here. Her voice,
Your voice carries, you got it.
I could have listened to her sing all day, every day for the rest of my life and been so happy. She was amazing.
Very talented people in the show. For sure.
All around. The acrobats, the singers, the dancers, everyone was amazing. The show was definitely worth waiting for.
Agreed.
Not an hour in the rain, but the next day, worth the wait.
For 30 minutes, yeah.
So from there, there's one other thing. What was the last thing that we had to do?
We had to do the... I don't think it's called the Tomorrowland Speedway there, but it's their version of Tomorrowland Speedway.
Autopia.
Autopia. It wasn't as good because you didn't have the smell of the cars.
No, they were electric. But they were really smooth.
They were smooth, but
Smooth ride.
I like the smell of the gas better. So.
Yeah. After that, though, it turned into whatever we want to do, we get to do it to get time done. Also, I don't know if it's because it rained the day before, or I was trying to look up. I think there was a holiday in Spain that weekend. This Wednesday was mobbed.
Way more
We were
crowded.
making plans the night before for everything we wanted to do this day. We made a whole list of what we wanted to do again and what we wanted to do for the first time. And we prioritized what we had to do for the first time. But there was like things that if we get to do it, we get to do it. We had to take off almost everything that we already did.
Yeah, about half of what we wrote down we got done.
Because our list was made with the intention that it was going to be the same way it was the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Closer to Monday probably, where it was like not completely empty, but not crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
There was people everywhere. So it was not as smooth as the other 2 days had went. So at that point, we were just like, cool, whatever we get on, we get on. Whatever we get to enjoy, we get to enjoy. We wandered around Main Street for a little bit, bought some merchandise. We
Got a pizza.
terrible pizza.
Mickey shaped pizza.
It was
Only
Mickey
reason we
shaped.
got it was because it was Mickey
We
shaped.
had to have it because it was Mickey shaped. It was so
It
bad.
wasn't great.
So, even the pepperoni wasn't good.
It was like Ilio's.
Ilios is better than that. We just like we went to the castle again. We saw the dragon again. We took more photos in the castle. You could walk like down like under the castle, so we went and we did that as well. We watched the Millions Watches of Color again. We just did everything again that we wanted to do. We just had a good time wandering the park, doing whatever we wanted to do as the perfect way to end our 3-day trip to Disneyland Paris.
I had a great time. I would go back.
I had a great time too. I thoroughly enjoyed the deals that they offered on the food.
Yeah.
I enjoyed just the way that everything was run and just how smooth it felt, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Thoughts?
Besides getting off the rides and stuff.
No, but just going from A to B was smooth.
Yeah.
Like the ticket system and all that
Yeah.
stuff, that was all really easy.
Yeah.
The park itself, no, efficiency is not a thing here that matters. That's something I think that's important to know. There's no rush from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect there to be one. Eventually, we got to see people get annoyed.
Yeah.
Because at one point, it was really inefficient.
It was, yeah.
When a ride broke down and they kept letting people, like the side we were on broke down and they kept letting people pass us on the other side rather than moving us over. So like people who were like way behind us in line were coming out of the pre-show and going ahead of us. So people around us were getting really mad.
Yeah.
I had faith that they'd fix it eventually, but people were real mad on that one.
Mhm.
But for the most part, don't expect it to be super efficient.
No.
Food, not great. Sit down restaurant
Sit down,
food,
yeah.
delicious and worth it. I would do at least one a day.
Yeah. Quick service, get shawarma.
Yes, at the diner. How many days do you think someone going to Disneyland Paris needs?
I thought what we had was perfect. I really do.
Like 2.5-ish.
2 to 3 non-rainy days. 'Cause I think without the rain, I think we could have gotten the Lion King show in the day before. I feel like we could have just been a little more efficient with what we were doing.
I was gonna say, I feel like we kind of wandered and took it slow, like, because we just kind of wanted to take it all in.
Yeah.
But if you did really want to have a set plan and go from A to B to C and get through it, you could do it easily in 2 days.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a much more laid back trip, you want to see the shows, you want to see the performers, you want to stop and see every character. They have characters just throughout the park.
Yeah.
But that was like huge there. Those lines were very long, except the day it rained. They still put the characters out in the park even when it rained and no one was in line. But if you want to do that, then you might need 3 days. But if you're just like If you want to go, you could get it done in 2.
2 days, you can get it done. 5 days is too many. I think 3 to 4 is the sweet spot.
Because even on the 3rd day when we were looking for things to do, it was, okay, what did you want to do again?
Yeah, I think 3 to 4 is the sweet spot of you can get pretty much everything done in the 3 to 4 days.
Most of our list for things on that 3rd day were food that we wanted to try that we hadn't got to try yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like things, or like
Rides
we might have done
anything.
another restaurant if we didn't have a flight that day. Like it wasn't really like.
We did all of the rides in the first 2 days.
Yeah, I think so, except Autopia.
Yeah.
Space Mountain was closed, but it's supposedly really good. And again, there was construction everywhere.
Yeah.
There was a lot of construction. It's fine.
Yeah.
It happens. We've been to Epcot. We get it.
And even though there was a lot of construction, like, I guess it did kind of feel like it in studios.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say it didn't feel as bad as Epcot, but studios it kind of did because it was very much a funnel at the beginning.
That was a funnel, and then when you were trying to get through Fantasyland and back to the castle, you had to go like all the way around everything instead of going through.
Yeah.
So there was definitely some inconveniences to it. It helps that we didn't really know any different, but I imagine that people who are there often would know different.
Yeah.
If you have kids, I think this is a great park to go to. If you have the kind of kids who are just going to want to explore and run around, this would be an amazing trip. The time difference, if you live in America, could definitely make it hard. We were 6 hours ahead of what we normally are.
Yeah.
So when it was 7 a.m. and we were getting up to go get ready and go to the park, it was 1 a.m. at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be rough with kids, but the park itself is so geared towards kids and family in the most amazing way. The shows are so good for kids and so fun for adults too because of the music. I highly recommend, if you are a Disney fan, to go to Disneyland Paris. It is so worth seeing, so worth doing.
100%.
And I had an amazing time, and it was one of my favorite parts of our whole trip, which I'll only admit on here. Because I'll admit it anywhere. I think
we've admitted it.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be, but it was. But it was so fun, and I would absolutely do like a long weekend there and just deal with the time change if I had to. Again, it's up to you if you want to do that with your kids. But this park, it's just the perfect kid park. Even in Walt Disney Studios, which is more comparable to like a Hollywood Studios where they have more adult-esque rides, there is a whole Pixar area that is the kids' rides that is so great for kids.
Yeah.
So it's got everything. It really was great. The hotels were so convenient. They were all walking distance but one. Mm-hmm. They made the transportation easy. Everything's broken down for you. I highly recommend.
Yep. I had a great time. Would recommend it. Would do it again.
Yeah, 100%. When are we going?
I don't know. We got California in September, so.
I know. But that's all. We're going to stop there. Sorry if it felt kind of rushed. I felt like we were kind of drowning it out at the beginning, and I didn't want the episode to be crazy long. And it didn't feel worthy of a 2-parter, so.
Yeah, fair.
But I had a great time. Highly recommend. Feel free to message us if you have any questions, if you want more specifics on our trips, if you want to know anything about the booking process, if I didn't go enough into that. And looking at the list that we have, we hit almost everything that we wanted to. Only other thing to note, there are bugs in Disneyland Paris. This might be something that you've never noticed, but Walt Disney World doesn't really have bugs. They spray for bugs. Mm-hmm. Disneyland Paris, we were getting bit up.
Yes.
There are bugs there. And again, their fast pass system, amazing. But $90 a day. Their photo pass system, $85, I think, a day. Not worth it. No photographers anywhere.
Didn't see any.
We couldn't even find anyone to take our photo. There's a lot of 0.5 photos and photos of the phone where the phone is propped up, or where someone very nicely finally offered, or we would ask someone. But there were not photographers around the park like there were in the U.S.
Yeah.
So photo pass system, unless you want all ride photos, not worth it.
Nope.
Not sufficient. No rules. Yeah. And besides that, I think we went into everything.
Yeah, I think we covered most of it. Sorry again if it felt like we were just listing things off, but that's what happened.
We wanted to tell you all about our day.
Did a bunch of rides.
All the fun that we had.
If you want to know more about the food that we ate, feel free to message. We can tell you about that. If you want to know more, like Gina said, about anything else, booking process, just the parks in general, feel free to message us about that. But that's it for right now. That's all our recap. So, if you want, you can go follow us. You know what? Please do. Instagram at Spill the D Podcast. TikTok at Spill the D Pod, right?
Yeah.
You can email at spillthedpod@gmail.com. But that's it for today. So, until next time, we will
see you at the castle.